I still can't fathom that they're actually trying to sell you on them having such a deep love and such emotion for each other every single year while they're having families, while they're cheating on each, and it's just like, that's a hard pill to swallow. But at the same time, I do believe they truly, deeply love each other, which comes to a head at the end, which I really like. I think the ending is executed quite well. But all through the movie, I just felt to myself, could this ever happen in real life at all? Like, these people have their own families, their own husbands and wives. They keep coming back and they keep saying how much they love each other, how they get away from their families, and and I don't know, man. It is convincing that they do actually love each other. But every time I think about it, I'm just like, why does this work even? Why should I believe that they really, all these years, they can just have one day? It's a really hard pill to swallow, but they pull it off. But I just keep on thinking to myself, I don't know how they pulled it off, because this is ridiculous. This whole plot is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Actually, the movie that I thought of while I was watching it this time was Brokeback Mountain. Two married guys, and they go off together as often as they can to have their affair. In that movie, it's a little bit more understandable because there was no way for them to actually be together to like leave their wives and just live their lives together, because at that time they couldn't. There's no way they could have done that. This one, this is very. I guess you could kind of call this a bit of a first world problem.
Yeah.
I have my wife and my family, and every year I come and I spend a weekend with this woman, and they never seem to be like they're particularly, well, in one very understandable instance for Alan Alda, but they're never particularly miserable with their lives back home. It's not like they hate their spouse. I don't think either one of them is in love with their spouse.
No, they can't.
They're both. They have their obligations, and the idea of divorcing their spouses and being together never occurs to them until later in the movie.
Yeah.
So in that way, I mean, I could understand it was a different time, and sort of following your heart wasn't something that was particularly looked upon as being a legitimate thing to do. But you're right. You're always thinking about, well, they're poor, poor spouses back home. All of this love and affection and passion that they have for each other, and then they go home and it's just the other person gets the leftovers.
And I am convinced they do love each other. That's the thing. And that's why it bothers me. It's like, they actually sold this script, again, based off a play, which we'll talk about in a moment as well. But when you watch the film, especially at the end, I'm like, I just watched a movie about these two serial cheaters having this deep love for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe it's legitimate. I do believe like the chemistry, Alan Alda and Ellen Burstyn's chemistry is fine. It's very believable, more believable as the years go on. But the last shot you see them, sitting standing on a ridge, beautiful sunshine, like any other romantic movie of two lovers getting together, but they are cheaters. It's really surreal, and in a way, I really commend the movie. Like, wow, you guys really sold me. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I am rooting for these, scumbags. Really.
Yeah.
But in saying that, the movie's funny. This is a romantic comedy, and let's not skive over the comedic aspect. The movie's funny. It's funny in the light Woody Allen kind of comedy way. Alan Alda's neurotic, and the situation they get into, like at one point she turns up pregnant, which is absolutely ridiculous, but they play off it well. But it isn't super slapstick, and I do feel like it's genuine. Even when she's pregnant, there's emotion there, and that's what carried me through the movie. Even when they do these things, she's a super hippie and now he's all super conservative and they're arguing about the war, it is legitimate and it does feel genuine. And I do feel like maybe the writer put all these different aspects together, but the actors really pull it off. and it really makes it enjoyable. And I laugh and I enjoy the romance. And honestly, apart from the theme song, I'm like, it shouldn't work. But I believe these two love each other. I don't believe that they could come back every year and I don't believe they could be that passionate about each other and only see each other once a year. That I don't believe at all. And that's the only part where I got to suspend my disbelief. But other than that, I mean, this film is unique in what it's trying to do.
I think she mentions at one point, thinking about calling him all the time. But that's why, to me, I mean, this movie is supposed to be a romantic comedy. I don't laugh at it very much, and I come away kind of feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Because these two people who are so in love, and yet they're kind of just wasting their lives. They're kind of just complacent, except for this one weekend a year. And you just think about, maybe it wouldn't work if they had to be with each other every day. But the fact that they don't ever even try, and it's funny, just before we came on, I pulled up the Wikipedia page so I could just sort of look at stuff. There is a sequel to the play.
Yeah.
That goes through, I think it said it went through the 80s, maybe into the early 90s. And I can't imagine how horribly depressing that thing ends. Because, and we can get into the ending, later, but it just, you're just watching these two people kind of waste their lives. And I don't find it, even the very ending, again, I will get into it later, but I'm sure you're supposed to stand up and clap and cheer for it. And instead I just go, this is sad.
Well, like I said, when I see that final clip of them on the cliff, kissing, I'm just like, are they really? I'm in disbelief. I'm honestly like, really? This is their whole life? They actually just committed to this? And I know it's a movie. I know I should suspend my disbelief in why am I taking it so seriously? It's just because they're so convincing with the passion they have for each other. That's done so well. It draws you in a different way. Let me play this clip that I should have played this earlier, because this is like the beginning phases, just to show a bit more of the comedy before we move into a slightly different realm with this conversation, which I really want to get your opinion on. But let me play this clip for those who might not even want to watch it. This is a taste of the kind of comedy this movie's going for.
I tell you, Doris, I feel like slitting my wrists.
Are you Italian?
What's with you and nationalities?
Nothing. You're just so emotional.
I happen to be a CPA.
Huh?
I mean, I can be as logical as the next person.
Oh. Well, you don't strike me as the accountant type.
What are you?
Oh, I'm Irish.
Well, they're emotional. Why aren't you yelling or crying or something?
Oh, I did all of that before in the bathroom.
Crying?
No, yelling.
I didn't hear you.
Well, I stuffed a towel in my mouth.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. No sense crying over spilt milk.
Yeah, you're right.
How can we feel so terrible?
Because we're two decent, honest people, and this thing is tearing us apart. I mean, I know it wasn't our fault, but I keep seeing the faces of my children and the look of betrayal in their eyes. I keep thinking about my marriage vows, the trust my wife has placed in me, and all the experiences we've shared together. And you know the worst part of it all?
What?
While I'm thinking all this, I have this fantastic heart-on.
I really wish you hadn't said that.
I'm sorry. I just think we should be totally honest with each other.